So, I did my research on revolutions and social media, and I've actually done my research, so I thought the most interesting way to present this was Revolt from Your Smartphone, a how to guide for the practical protester. The history, of course, is what we covered mostly in class. The recent revolutions in Tunisia and Egypt, Arab Spring, where they used Facebook and Twitter, video that was smuggled out of the country to upload to Mega Upload, and Foursquare for the gentleman who was held captive in the Department of the Interior to publish his location. Euromaidan used Facebook to organize internally, and Twitter in multiple languages to reach out to the wider world. The ones we didn't, well, we covered somewhat, but not as much in class. Occupy, the Occupy movement was mostly Twitter, not a lot of Facebook. Part of that was because there wasn't a lot of central focus and organization, and Facebook tends to be where people have done most of their central organization. YouTube was also instrumental because putting videos of police brutality on YouTube was what incited the protests to much greater heights. Hong Kong we didn't cover in class at all. But a really interesting about Hong Kong is that because of the Chinese government's major firewall, they didn't have access to Twitter, Facebook, or YouTube. So protesters were initially using Instagram, but eventually started using FireChat, which is software developed by OpenGarden that uses the inbuilt ability of our phones to speak to each other rather than just towers to create a mesh network so that people were able to use FireChat to message and chat to each other even without internet because the phones were speaking to each other and creating a localized network in Hong Kong. So, taking these lessons and moving forward, the how-to section. Facebook, it is not on your side. It is a corporate entity, and they look out for their own interests. There's a lot of utility in that Facebook pages allow for a central landing page, which is more resilient to DDoS attacks than something self-hosted, simply because they're a huge platform. But they've changed their algorithms so that unless you pay to boost your post, you're likely to only reach 10% of your followers. Facebook groups do allow for internal organization with privacy, but again, you have the issue of reaching the people you need to. Tweet for an audience. Twitter can be made private, but if it is, it's ineffective for reach. So it's not particularly good for internal organization. Because if it's effective at all, if you're reaching out, every part of it can be scrutinized. Hashtags are an important part of reach. Trending hashtags can not only be seen all over the world, they are promoted in the sidebar and used by not only citizens who are involved, but by media outlets as current news coverage. That means keep your hashtags snappy, not only as a way for people to remember what they're tagging, but as a way to draw more attention and make it easier for people to keep talking about it. Another component of reach is reaching out. Spam bots already do this and try to get people to follow back, but follow everyone. And ask famous people to retweet. With the issues with the UK library system this past summer, lots of librarians were tweeting at Neil Gaiman to retweet, and he was, because that's a cause he cares about. Sometimes people who care about your cause might retweet you and spread your reach. Melodramatically, YouTube their crimes. Video evidence matters a lot. Mega Upload was a good option in Tunisia, and Instagram was the only option in Hong Kong. But YouTube is a great platform for uploading recordings because it's the largest video platform in the world, and a lot of people go to YouTube first. The Copwatch app from the ACLU is great for recording and observing police brutality inside the US because it automatically uploads things to an ACLU server, but it is only available in a few states and not in Wisconsin. Finally, adapt to survive. Adaptability is the key to protesting effectively, particularly moving forward. Going to different networks as government censorship crackdown worked really well in Hong Kong and during Arab Spring. Anything with geotagging can help prove that people are being held, with Foursquare, Instagram, etc. FireChat and other ways to connect over a mesh network, though I'm not aware of anything as targeted as FireChat, are great for situations where the internet as a whole might be cut to a certain area.